Yeah, it's a brand new work week. Welcome to Caribbean Weather Dude YouTube channel. We got all kinds of stormy weather to talk about, and it's going to cool off later in the week. Going to get a little bit cooler. Going to get, like I said last video, more winter-like in BC coming to you. Yeah, it is more snow coming at you. Going to be one of those weeks. Enjoy your work week. Here's everything you need to know to get through it with less suffering. Here's the timing on all the bullshit. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. Okay, time to start my day. We're going to start with some Wells weather brought to you by Diggy's Diner here in Wells. They're not open on Mondays, but I have a mug, which makes it look like I'm drinking Diggy's Diner coffee. I'm not. I'm drinking Kicking Horse. But it says Diggy's Diner on my mug because I love those guys, and they help buy me this weather station. Pretty warm this morning, as so often is when a storm's coming in. 2.5 degrees C. I like that. Not bad at all. Here we are on the November 11th, Remembrance Day. I have a lot of feelings about Remembrance Day. Come from a Dutch family that lived through the war, and we came to Canada because we thought Canadians were awesome. Looking back at last week, we had 13-degree high at one point. Very, very warm for November here in Wells up in the mountains, and a low of minus 7.7. So we saw things go up, and then start coming down. They more or less stabilized off a little bit, but we got the southwesterly flow because that's where the storm's coming from, and it won't last that long though. We're going to see these temperatures later this week come down, and here's the delivery method in which they will come at us. That's the jet stream there, bottom of the end of the jet stream. You can see you had 2 rounds on here of storm this week, and then bam, this big drop in the jet stream. So it looks like we're going to have some temperatures cool down later in the week a little bit, and it looks like that will make its way across Western Canada eventually as it does. With this nice ridge right now, that'll bring warm weather to Ontario. Looking good for you. Big storm in the Atlantic going on. Here's a new storm ready to form in the States next week. Going to be just a tumultuous November, I think, all over. It's not really going to get much better. But here's our storm today. Bam, into BC. Tuesday, quick break. Bam, Wednesday. Next one comes in. Jet stream drops down. Now the cold Arctic air is there. We'll see how cold. We'll get it. We'll have a picture of it by the end of this episode, I think. I hope. Okay, a lot of bullshit going on today out there in the Prince George North Prince George region, I should say, up in the Pine Pass. That would cover Mackenzie and whatnot. We have freezing rain happening right now. An area of freezing rain developed over Williston region last night. Well, the temperature at Mackenzie Airport has risen slightly to 0. Temperatures in some locations within the region along the highway remain just below. As a result, patchy freezing rain will continue this morning. All freezing rain will end later in the morning as surface temperatures warm above 0. So you're going through that Pine Pass this morning. You better fucking think twice. It is not the thing you want to be doing is going on the Pine Pass right now. So we have special weather statements going on down the south coast still. Same ones we talked about before. 25 to 35 millimeters of rain coming today. Storm continues to impact the south coast this morning. It will bring moderate to southeasterly winds near the Strait of Georgia. Right in this section here, Howe Sound, Metro Vancouver, North Vancouver rainfall warning. When could see 40 to 70 millimeters there. Up in the Okanagan Connector, there's heavy fog there this morning, near 0 visibility. And then we have a winter storm probably going to go on there today through Tuesday in the Paulson Pass and the Kootenay Pass, Highway 3, that Crow's Nest Highway that's going south through Alberta. Could see 40 centimeters of snow locally in some places. Gusty winds up to 50 kilometers an hour. So you're going up on that mountain pass. You're sitting down there in Castle Garden like, oh, wow, it's nice out. It's raining. It's not even, nothing's going on today. I think I'll just go over the pass and yeah, bad idea. That's how everyone gets screwed, is they don't realize how much different it will be up top on the mountain when they're trying to drive somewhere. So today in BC, really we have a bunch of days where I don't think you want to be making your way in and out of, even worse than going to Alberta would be going in to Northwest Territories from the Yukon side there. The Dempster Highway funnel system continues there. Now, finally, it's not a blizzard warning, but they're still getting a blowing snow advisory. So it is not stopped up there for practically forever. We still have this section through central Ontario where they got this weather advisory. You could see 5 to 10 centimeters meters, a little bit of snowfall happening there. Hazardous travel conditions may accompany with 70 kilometers an hour winds, so look for blowing, gusting snow and things like that. And go down to southern Ontario where they had some very strong, severe storms last night. I didn't hear the final tally or if a tornado touched down or not, but that was one of the concerns they had. And we have special weather statement for the Georgian Bay area today in Lake Huron, where you're going to have strong winds, 80 kilometers an hour coming through as this cold front blasts through the region. And now we've had high stream flow advisories drop for the North Coast. We don't expect any more significant rainfall event this week on the North Coast, especially once that jet stream comes down, brings that cooler weather. They will not be seeing very much precipitation. Now, the low is sitting off there, but as the low is spinning counterclockwise, it's feeding into the south right now. And the weather synopsis that they're giving us today is the same one from Friday, the 8th of November still. So nothing new on the hydrologic model, no statements from BC. Meanwhile, we've had another avalanche incident in Western Canada already, this one near Terrace. There was 2 people in the group. One was partly buried but had normal breathing. They were not injured. They were caught. A notable avalanche got skier triggered today in Alpine region outside Terrace. One of the 2 of us got taken by the speed and impressive mass of the hard slab avalanche, but could get out of the moving snow by himself once it settled. 380 meters long, 180 meters wide, 45 centimeters deep. Today was really windy in the subalpine and alpine, as well as the reverse loading that was behind the tree line, below the tree line. And most west, north, and northwest slopes got, as a result, deep pockets of wind-transported snow and heavy wind effects and fragile slabs. The amount of new snow was considerable, too, with something close to 30 centimeters in the last 12 hours, but maybe 45 in the last 24. Barely into November, we've had 2 avalanche incidents, and there's not even that much snow up in the big mountains yet, folks, and it's already happening. So you see that one of the main trigger points seems to be these wind slabs, and what happens is, I'll use my trusty envelope again. I always have an envelope. Here's your mountain, right? And if you can think about your mountain this way, and here's the wind blowing, and it's blowing all the snow, and all the snow starts piling up, and it starts piling up on this side, right? And until it gets a big knob, and then one day she just fucking lets go, and that's the end of your life. The active storm pattern continues through the early part of this week. The funnel system over storms spreads moderate to heavy precipitation and strong ridgetop winds into BC today. They got a risk of freezing rain going on in the North Rockies and the Alberta elbow today. A slight thunderstorm risk over the south coast on the afternoon today. Another more intense Pacific storm will impact BC late Tuesday into Wednesday with heavy precip and strong ridgetop winds, and that's the one we're really looking forward to. Today for the BC coast, moderate snow and strong southwesterly ridgetop winds continue across the south coast ranges. Freezing levels will be lower near 1,200 meters as the cold front moves across this morning. Slight risk of thunderstorms in the afternoon in south coast ranges. Unsettled conditions across the northwest ranges with light flurries expected. In the BC interior this morning, moderate snow and moderate to strong southwesterly ridgetop winds continue across the interior ranges. An area of freezing rains possible over the North Rockies. In the Yukon, cloudy with a few light flurries. For the afternoon in the BC coast, in the wake of the passing system, periods of snow and flurries persist along the coast with moderate southwesterly ridgetop winds. Freezing levels range from 800 meters over the northwest range to 1,200 meters over the south coast. So things are getting cooler. The temperature is lowering. The cold air is coming, dropping further down the mountain, coming closer to you. The risk of thunderstorm will diminish this evening. BC interior got light to moderate snow, moderate southwesterly ridgetop winds. Navigation Canada reporting that the ceiling is low and patchy through Fraser Canyon area. Everything went flying across. Gonna find into that. Got a bit of a ridge here on the Alberta side right now in this B section. Broken patch of ceiling. So rough things to fly through there. Got a strange little bent on the movement of things. Got this cold front there coming to southern BC. That's what will drop your freezing levels lower down. Got this risk of thunderstorm off the coast here where they got broken tower and cumulus, an isolated cumulonimbus going on today. Could see thunderstorms moving at 30 knots. We got slight warm front sitting there over Mackenzie. That's what's helping our situation for freezing rain, where the ground is cold but the air is slightly warmer. So a little bit of warm air aloft there, a bit of an inversion happening, bit of a rising of the warm air and the cold air sinking down, and then cold front still moving through. And it looks like everyone's seeing a lot of cloud right now. Everyone's seeing risk of some precipitation, although for some of you that risk is not very high. Cold front starts to slide through the province this afternoon, maybe by noontime. time. Low pushing through Mackenzie area, the center of the low. So we see it has established itself in Haida Gwaii, but it's now beginning to reform itself. Going to try to make its way into Alberta with the Clipper. You can see how we got the nice Chinook weather going on there. Warm front in the Alberta side. Cold front moving through BC, pushing towards Alberta. Cold front up in the Yukon. Parcel of warm air still connected up there. So maybe on this east side of the BC northwest east corner, you're going to see maybe a little bit warmer temperature there than you'll see if you go 100 kilometers to your west. Our final GFA graphic forecast area map we have there. You can see the cold front now by this evening reaching towards the Rockies. That will bring temperatures down across the board. So this 2.5 degrees we're sitting at Wells right now will likely go down. We got broken cumulus through the central interior, so you're probably seeing less and less of that. But we still have, there's a freezing rain icon for the piece. So just because freezing rain ends today in Mackenzie, I would suggest to you, if you are in the Peace area, if you are in Fort Nelson, you expect that risk still to make its way towards you later today, especially with that cold front moving in. Things are not going to get much better. Maybe you'll get lucky and it will come as snow. Along the coast mountains, by the end of the day, going to see that risk of thunderstorm there. It will diminish as we get on with the afternoon into the evening. Going to be some hard flying for anybody who's got a flight out of BC today. Well, unless you can... you might get lucky, and if you have a flight tomorrow morning, you might be able to take off from BC and get less turbulent skies. But today, not the case. And the next storm coming Wednesday, it's already out there, this next one. And it's the thing is, here's the low, and here's the flow of the low, and it's just going to help this guy go zoop straight on in, right? It's going to ride those isobars in like a nice conveyor belt. We've been seeing examples of that lately, of how the conveyor belts of a low pressure system or a high pressure system or a low and high combined together, or two systems combined together, can be enough sometimes to really propel something forward. All of BC sitting cloudy this morning. Pretty much no one seeing a touch of blue sky as sun's rising right about now. It's starting to get light out there. Yeah, it is. And we can see how that tail whipping up and down the coast. So anybody who's sitting there, maybe Northern California, maybe Oregon, they do have some risk of snowfall going on up there. I know that my friends in Oregon are having a bit of a laugh about the snow coming finally to their mountains there. So try to get a little bit of a bigger picture here, I guess, at least. So we got this low pressure, two bulbs of it sitting there, Quebec, and then maybe Lake Superior, more or less. High pressure sitting over the prairies. Going to see some clear skies there, even getting a little bit warm on the Alberta side, some Chinook kind of thing going on there, and it doesn't hurt that you have the high pressure feeding clockwise up this way. We got the low feeding this way, so that should help bring some temperatures up on the Alberta side of the Rockies today. Congratulations for you. Here's our low pressure system sitting 984, frontal cyclone. No longer the atmospheric river it was a couple days ago, but it's really kind of just hung around there and not decided exactly what it wants to do. But now it's going to start moving inland. It's going to make its way into Alberta here. It's going to form an Alberta Clipper. Finally, no storms going on there in the United States. We got hurricane there pretty much dying out. That's the end of that story. High pressure sitting on both sides of the coast, so two big high pressure boobies, and then we got new low sitting up there by the Aleutian Islands. He's going on, and then we don't really get in this map the impression of where that next storm is sitting quite as nicely as we did in some of those others. But here it is. You can see it now pulling in. You can see how this guy is going to just suck him right up and shot put him into BC. Tuesday, there we go, bam, and he drops fast, 977, 977, 979, so drops fast. So this storm will become more vigorous than what we're seeing right now. It will produce some pretty heavy winds, I'm pretty sure. I would think that anyone along these isobars here, so maybe Vancouver Island once again, maybe the coast of BC, maybe the Washington coast and Oregon coast, going to see some strong winds up there as we get into this guy. And you can see how our warmth is sitting sort of below this guy right now, and so temporarily maybe you have some moments like this morning where it's above. You don't expect to wake up at 7 in the morning here in Wells and see it at 2.5, 3 degrees. That's not entirely normal for us at this elevation. Well, it won't last very long. That's the thing. It won't last very long at all. And that low coming through, that'll be our last good storm there for a little bit. And then you can see that high pressure, and we saw that in that jet stream analysis there. You can see that high pressure moving in. That's bringing cold air in from the north. It's going to really bring our temperatures down. I'm starting to get a better picture, but I think we're going to see some days at least by the end of this week where very few people in BC are not at 0 or below. Maybe the coast would be an exception, right? And then finally next week, Monday, it looks like we have a return to snowy weather again at the end of all that. So that's kind of how the picture takes hold for the next little while. And if this is true and this happens this way, the 19th, that means we could be sitting in this cold weather for considerably longer than maybe I want to be. And that might mean we see some real cold nights. Our low sitting there near Haida The winds are not too bad now, not too bad. Topping it at 50 along the coast, so not too bad at all. It's kind of nice to see a little break from the wind. All of BC sitting kind of cloudy this morning. All of BC reaping in some of this. You can see how up north of Prince George, this band here is the area that we think is bringing us some of that freezing rain. Pretty gross looking. And even on satellite, we can pick that up right now. So we have snow falling right now in the Columbias, in the Rockies, in the North Rockies, maybe snow, but probably freezing rain still. I would think even if you're on this west flank there of the Caribou, there's a chance that you're going to be seeing some precipitation through all that. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Vancouver taking some rainfall in that general region this morning in the lower mainland. And we'll end the day, as we often do, just playing through an animation here, seeing what goes on, how this low moves through BC, bringing its precip across. Again, going to see a lot of cloudy weather. Some of you in that central part of the interior, you're not going to see necessarily in your homes, in your communities, much of this in that way. Look at that snowfall coming into Fort St. John tonight. So that's telling you're going to have pretty good snowy moments there, I think, is this backside of that low, the top side of that low, pulling that cold air down. And it will likely, I would think that freezing rain icon we've seen a little later or a little earlier might actually end up just being a straight up snow icon. So lingering flurries on Tuesday morning as we come into the overnight hours, coming closer to the dawn. This big storm that has now gone through BC, now formed over in Alberta. More like a Nunavut low, I guess you'd say, because it's kind of heading that way more than. So looking to see that guy bring some snow up to Churchill, Manitoba, into Nunavut, into Northwest Territories. And our break on Tuesday isn't a real break if you're traveling through the BC mountains. So if you got another one of these days where you think you want to go into Calgary, you got to be really, really abundantly aware of exactly the changing conditions, the changing situation, what's going on. This next low, ECMWF model here has it not as low as that GFS model. I mean, we were looking at a different website. The website is not the model, just to be clear, right? The website is not the model. The models are here, and both these websites have versions of the models that you can look at. So one website I look at one model, and one website I look at the other, and it's not because that's what those websites only do. It's because of just how I am. I like to use the ECMWF on the windy because it's the most detailed. So look at that Wednesday morning. It's 2 a.m. You expect to see your snowfall starting pretty early. You may even get a dusting of that into the Caribou. Going to see some of that definitely in the Duffy, definitely up over the Coquihalla, on the Allison Pass. I would think if you're down to, we do have winter storm warnings already down here. Kootenay, you're definitely going to see some more of this. Up into Rogers Pass, going to see some more of this. Going to be a bit of a nasty mix at times down to Bella Coola. Finally, by Wednesday late afternoon, northern BC getting its turn. That low kind of sitting right on top of Haida Gwaii. Not moving, stationary there, bringing precip up and down the U.S. coast. Lots of precip up from Seattle, Portland, Medford on down into Thursday morning. We start looking at that, and this still hasn't quite cleared its end. And brand new Alberta low trying to form out of this guy. That Nunavut low is already shot off like a shotgun. Just bam, it's already out there, already moving out towards Greenland by this time. So it went from, in 2 days, it went from here to Greenland, more or less, right? Really incredible. Still snowing on Thursday, 4 a.m. in BC. Still snowing. Still coming down. A little bit of rain maybe in lower elevations, maybe a little bit of a mix, maybe a bit of a sloppy mix. Doesn't look like heavy snowfall. I would say these are more flurries on Thursday, post-frontal flurries that continue to linger on. You got cloudy skies and sort of nasty looking stuff. On the prairie side, doesn't seem to want to establish itself all that much in this model. So, I'm skeptical on what's going to happen with this next low, but it's possible that this is wrong. It's possible this next low actually gets pretty supercharged somehow, especially with this guy feeding air down from the north, and maybe he'll find a nice warm parcel. Maybe he'll find enough moisture. I don't know. I just seem to think that this is a little unusually weak for one of these lows to pass through and form on the Alberta side. It's not what we've seen them doing. And that's when we get this new low forming on the American side down there on the Rocky Mountains. So that will become their next big weather story when that starts to move across later, and that will, effectively create probably another tornado outbreak situation like that. So here's the question on temperature, and we're looking at Friday now at 6 p.m. You can see all of BC sitting on that freezing side of it, right? Right on down the Rockies, seeing cold. Well, that low down there, it is helping pull warm air right into that southern prairie, but pretty much the rest of us aren't going to experience any of the goodness of that. And we're not talking crazy cold. Friday evening, 9 o'clock. Okay, so maybe in this corner by Jasper, you can see a pocket where it gets up down to minus 19. I'm skeptical on that, but I would not be surprised if we see some of these temperatures go even lower than that in places. So I think we don't have accurate numbers yet, an accurate understanding of what's going to happen. We got very cold air in the Yukon manifesting itself by next weekend, very cold air in Alaska, extremely cold, Arctic cold. So how will that make its way down to BC? So often we've seen it does. So be prepared for a possible cold snap in this. And look at this. They're looking at next Tuesday, the 19th. This modeling showing, again, we can't really take specifics too seriously here because will it be minus 19 in this place at that time? Well, no one's sure of that. But this gives you an example of how maybe by this time next week we're sitting in some cooler weather, more and more winter-like. Okay, I talked too long today, so that's all the show for today. Please help me if you can. I'm always looking for sponsors, always looking for supporters, always looking for Patreon members and channel members and donations, especially weather equipment. I love if you can't support me in any financial way, that's fine. Feel free to just share, keep coming back and watching the videos. They're free for you. And you commenting helps the algorithm machine. It does support me. So there's ways you can support without just watching is a way of supporting me. So thank you for watching. I don't want to overbeg, but at the same time, I'm coming into Christmas season here, and I got kids and family and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with myself here. And I've turned down jobs to keep forecasting, so now I got to really make this work, and I'm dysfunctional, so it's hard. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show today. Hope you have a nice, safe work week, and keep in touch. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye for now.